But now there are a lot of people that are the drama is causing some extra FUD from people that I didn't think it would.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn. At one point, if they're that paper handed, if they're John, Johnny's here, he said, I heard chaos.
There you go.
So, on one hand, I'm kind of sad that there is drama. On the other hand, I'm like, well, get them out. Get them out now. We know what we have. We know what HEX is. We know the contract works. It doesn't change a goddamn thing about anything.
Mhm.
If they're that paper handed and get them out, I would rather see it continue to go down and have them sell, so they can't whenever it goes up. I would rather see it in much more strong hands, divided up amongst a bigger crowd, than having a bunch of it into certain people's hands that probably don't deserve it, or they're afraid to hang on. So yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm kind of torn. I don't like to see the community fighting. I don't like to see that infighting. I do try and stay away from as much of it as possible. I'll read certain people. I'll follow their stuff and like their stuff and listen. But for the most part, if I see drama, I just kind of turn the other way and scroll right past it. I don't like to involve myself with it. But yeah, I mean, back up the truck at this point. Get more. I want people that believe in it to be getting more right now. I don't want the people that are afraid, because eventually they're going to sell at some point. Everyone's going to sell. I don't mean it that way.
No,
Everybody
I get it.
should
Yeah.
take profits, but I want diamond-handed people getting in now, because they will appreciate it that much more. So that's my take.
Yeah, well, as far as like the drama thing too, and I'm totally with you. I don't even I don't even know the last time I commented to a Twitter thread that was anything other than me just joking around or something like that. But that said, I do find it fascinating though. Actually, that's a word you used, I think, with me in a DM earlier when we were talking about this. But just, like, I find everyone's choice of behavior like fascinating. It is an interesting psychological study. Now, there's some stuff that might just be drama and trolling and stuff like that Pulse X account that I think you've blocked. That is clearly just some, I don't know who it is, but he's not following, he or she or they is not following anybody and has like 6,500 followers and now is literally just crapping on Richard. Like,
Yeah.
like it's not even. You go back and it's like in September they were actually giving like pulse chain updates they probably weren't even privy to, and now it's like Richard's dumping on you and all this stuff. It's literally what you just explained.
Yeah.
Yeah, strange. I just don't
It is
understand the motive.
strange. Well, I do, because they either A, want it to fail, or B, they want to buy in lower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people that are strong-handed that are ready to buy in and buy more. So
That's
I
the thing.
agree.
It's kind of like, this is the question you have to ask yourself. And this is why to get to people who are actually seriously investing in crypto right now. And obviously, none of this, just like any channel, is not financial advice. There's a conversation. Like, you have a premise and a reason for investing in whatever it is you are before you even look at price. Now, obviously, you're going to buy at certain levels, and you're not going to want to buy something at a top or something like that. But your premise for having something in your portfolio is something you've already should have worked out a long time ago. When you have it written down or journaled somewhere where you're only going to allocate 10, 15, 20% to it, or you're going to put your whole bag in it, your life savings or whatever your decision is, that decision should have already been made in earnest. And if this level of drop is shaking you out, what you need to do is examine your entire plan, because something is wrong with it. You are either over leveraged, just too emotional of a person. There's a lot of things you have to check off and figure out, why are you capitulating at the worst possible time? I guess that's kind of a chicken and egg thing, because it's like the worst possible time is when you capitulate at the worst possible time. But some of this stuff we're seeing about And I don't even know, I don't know the validity of some of these accounts maybe as much as you do, but like some of the stuff we're seeing about like Richard's lost it. He's not even like tweeting, which he is right now. He just was a couple minutes ago. Maybe we can pull that up. But they're saying like Richard's lost it and everything. So it seems as if through a little bit of a veil, Richard is calling out some of these, whatever you even want to call them, projects or whatever that have already launched like on Pulse, basically. Okay.
Right.
Why is that a surprise to anybody? I mean, he's never done it directly. We were talking about this before we came on the air. He's never done it so far directly with those. And I imagine anybody that's involved with Hex or Pulse knows what I'm talking about. But the ones that have already been, created for Pulse, like, why would you think that he'd be an advocate for these? This is what he does. Like, he always is calling things out like that. Do you think, are people so shocked that he's doing it because it is Pulse related, which I think that's actually a stretch? Like, what do you think it is?
Well, I think Richard has always said, I'm only going to promote my stuff. I don't know enough about them. I don't have the time to look into them or read the code to see if they're what they say they are, nor does he know the person behind it, if they're going to rug pull or do whatever they may do.
Right.
So he's better off not even talking about it. I think he doesn't want to mention them by name, and he never really will. Occasionally, I do remember one point where he did mention Hedron at some point. I think they kind of garnered some of his trust a little bit with what they had built and what they were giving away. And I know the OA claimed Hedron as well. So he obviously, that entity obviously trusted the contract enough to interact with it. Pretty sure they did. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they claimed a bunch of Hedron. So, but again, his whole premise has always been, if I don't make it, I'm not going to promote it. And nor should he.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons why. And also he doesn't like to talk about them. He won't even usually say their name, because if it does turn out to be a scam and he named the scam, then, he feels liable, where that economic energy could have gone into his project. Instead, he mentioned a name, people went to that name and bought it. And then if something bad happens, he feels partially responsible. So,
Right.
It's understandable why he doesn't. I don't know why people get so butthurt that he won't talk about projects, or even block people for that matter, that's all they talk about. He doesn't want it on his feed. He doesn't want the people that he follows to see it, because when he does follow other people, he does follow Hexicans. If they're tweeting about that stuff or retweeting, it does kind of show up in his circle or in his feed. So, I don't understand why people get so butthurt about promoting other things that aren't his. It doesn't make sense. They can, they deserve it, essentially.
Yeah. I totally agree. And like I said, the fascinating thing to me is that people are acting surprised that he's revealing himself to be this way at this point. This is what he's always done. It's very consistent with exactly what he's always done. Maybe it's a little bit extra now and directly kind of aimed at some of these Pulse things whenever Hex has reached its new bear market lows. So that's why people are kind of capitulating on it now. But to me, I'm just like, dude, this is exactly what he always does.
Yeah. There's nothing different. Nothing different about now and then. People just are maybe a little bit more emotional right now that it's a bear market. They're a little more on edge because the Pulse chain hasn't happened yet. So what? It hasn't happened yet. It's not ready.